Palestinian protests. The media are getting this all wrong. We've got people living inside our country that believe in a totally different set of values and priorities. But I was assured by everybody, don't worry, it's only a minority. And I kind of wanted to believe it until a poll conducted for the Henry Jackson Society but done by the reputable JL Partners has come out with these facts. Only 25% believe that Hamas committed murder and rape. Well, we've all seen the pictures of what happened, the heli gliders that came in to that festival, but only 25% of British Muslims are prepared to accept that it actually happened. The media are getting this all wrong. The media are calling these protests. These were not Palestinian protests. They were Palestinian celebrations. They were out in the streets celebrating acts of kidnap, rape and murder committed by Hamas. That is actually what was going on our streets. And some of the language and some of the behaviour was highly open to question. Just look at this balaclavaed man being interviewed in the street last night and listen very carefully to what he says and watch the right index finger gesture.
You know, brother, this is the end of the occupation against Palestinian people. Israel is a terrorist state.
So there we are. Israel is a terrorist state. When he was asked about the murder of innocent civilians, he had absolutely nothing to say. And what of that gesture? Well, many would say it's an old Islamic symbol to say there is just one God. However, it has been, as you can see in this picture, appropriated very regularly by ISIS over the course of the last few years. I'm not suggesting this gentleman was ISIS, but I am saying it was at the very least deeply provocative. Nearly half, 46%, sympathise with Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organisation, a prescribed organisation, an enemy to us, and yet nearly half of British Muslims support it or at least sympathise with it. 52% of British Muslims want it to be illegal to show an image of Muhammad the Prophet. In our country, we do cartoons of the Archbishop of Canterbury, we do cartoons of the Pope and anybody in religion. It's certainly up to their image being portrayed and often in a less than favourable light. Perhaps most worrying of all, that 32% of British Muslims want to see Sharia law implemented in the UK.
According to the Sharia, again, when it comes to women, there must be a hole dug in the earth, in the ground, and she must be covered up half of the body.
I find this genuinely terrifying, and I say that because the Muslim population of Britain is 4 million today. By 2050, it's projected to be over 10 million. Are we to have a huge group of millions of people living in our midst that not only don't share our values, but in many ways would like to impose their values on us?
The poll also highlights troubling views towards Jews, with a significant portion believing in Jewish influence over the UK government. Additionally, over half express a desire to criminalise the description of the Prophet Muhammad, raising concerns about freedom of expression and religious tolerance.
I was in Israel last week meeting with friends and survivors and hostage families, and I actually felt safer in Israel than I do in this country at this moment in time. And I had two reflections on that visit. First of all, nobody in this house has any business agency at all in telling the state of Israel where it is able to operate to seek to rescue hostages who are being raped by Islamic terrorists who hold them. Nobody has any business. Secondly, if we have a rerun of the debate we had, we will have exactly the same thing happen again, which is that members will not vote with their hearts because they are frightened and they are scared. And what do we expect? For months I've been standing up here talking about the people on our street demanding death to Jews, demanding jihad, demanding intifadas, as the police stand by and allow that to happen.
Extremism is the promotion or advancement of an ideology based on violence, hatred or intolerance that aims to negate or destroy the fundamental rights and freedoms of others, or undermine, overturn or replace the UK's system of liberal parliamentary democracy and democratic rights, or intentionally create a permissive environment for others to achieve these results. It is important to stress that we are in no way intending to restrict freedom of expression, religion or belief. Islamism should never be confused with Islam. Islamism is a totalitarian ideology which seeks to divide, calls for the establishment of an Islamic state governed by Sharia law, and seeks the overthrow of liberal democratic principles. Organisations such as the Muslim Association of Britain and other groups such as Cage and Mend give rise to concern for their Islamist orientation and views. We will be holding these and other organisations to account to assess if they meet our definition of extremism, and will take action as appropriate.
Of particular concern is the lack of acknowledgement of Hamas atrocities, especially among the younger and better educated demographic. This suggests failures in education and awareness campaigns, which could have detrimental effects on societal cohesion. Although the methodology of the survey may raise doubts about the reliability of the data, the trends it reveals are too significant to be disregarded. There is a noticeable gap in dealing with extremism, as many are hesitant to challenge radical ideologies due to the fear of being labelled as Islamophobic or racist. Furthermore, concerns about radicalization in prisons persist, with reports of coercion into converting to Islam and the imposition of Sharia law by Muslim gangs. This highlights the urgent need for intervention and reform within the criminal justice system. The findings of the British Muslim poll serve as a wake-up call, underscoring the need for a comprehensive approach to addressing extremism and promoting tolerance. Policymakers, community leaders, and society must come together to confront these issues, safeguard democratic values, and foster inclusivity and cohesion.
In recent weeks and months, we have seen a shocking increase in extremist disruption and criminality. What started as protests on our street has descended into intimidation, threats, and planned acts of violence. Jewish children fearful to wear their school uniform lest it reveal their identity. Muslim women abused in the street for the actions of a terrorist group they have no connection with. Now our democracy itself is a target. Council meetings and local events have been stormed. MPs do not feel safe in their homes. Long-standing parliamentary conventions have been upended because of safety concerns. And it is beyond alarming that last night the Rochdale by-election returned a candidate who dismisses the horror of what happened on October the 7th, who glorifies Hezbollah and is endorsed by Nick Griffin, the racist former leader of the BNP. But I fear that our great achievement in building the world's most successful multi-ethnic, multi-faith democracy is being deliberately undermined. There are forces here at home trying to tear us apart. On too many occasions recently, our streets have been hijacked by small groups who are hostile to our values and have no respect for our democratic traditions. Threats of violence and intimidation are alien to our way of doing things. They must be resisted at all times. Islamist extremists and the far right feed off and embolden each other. They are equally desperate to pretend that their violence is somehow justified, when actually these groups are two sides of the same extremist coin.
For access to the full poll results, you can find the link in our YouTube description. If you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support keeps us motivated to bring you more engaging content. Remember, stay informed, stay engaged.